Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sharon Sterling, Marketing Manager, Victoria Mutual Group, and it is my distinct pleasure to give you a very warm welcome to the very first Victoria Mutual Investment Limited Investor Briefing. We're so happy that you have joined us this morning as we continue to execute on our promise to ensure that our investors are fully informed and empowered to make decisions that affect their lives. With us today are our VM Group President and CEO, Courtney Campbell, CEO of VMIL and VM Wealth Limited, Rezworth Burchenson, and representing the office of our Chief Financial Officer is Ms. Kimberly Budram, Senior Finance Officer. Mr. Burchenson will be sharing updates on the performance of VMIL in 2020, including a detailed overview of the audited financial statements as of December 31st, 2020. At the end of this presentation, the executives here present will be happy to answer any questions you have. Please type these in the chat section of the platform that you're using to join. Your feedback is also important to us as we seek to improve your experience with us the next time around. And so towards the end of the presentation, a link will appear in the chat. And please, we request your support with just filling out the short survey that is included there. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, and I now hand over to Mr. Rezworth Burchenson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharon, and good morning to all our participants this morning. I will just take a brief moment to introduce the head table. So to my left is Mr. Courtney Campbell, who is the Group President of the Victoria Mutual Group. And then to my right, Mrs. Budram, who is representing the Office of the CFO of the Victoria Mutual Group. Welcome to our first investor briefing. As Sharon said before, when we went public a couple years ago, we always thought of having an investor briefing, primarily to update our shareholders and other stakeholders regarding the progress of the business. As we all know, oftentimes the AGM, which we have every year, doesn't allow for a detailed discussion on the business. So we said, what better way to have that discussion than in an investor briefing? I will also like to, I know a number of our stakeholders are actually joining. I'd like to also welcome the directors of VMG, VMIL, and VM Wealth. I know that a number of VMG executives, VMG, I mean Victoria Mutual Group executives are also joining. The VMIL management team are also listening in. A number of staff members who should be processing transactions are actually listening in, so welcome team. And the wider VMG team, all the staff members across the group. Let me just start. Okay, so we're going to briefly go through in the next 20, 30 minutes or so some highlights as per the agenda. To reinforce who we are, what are some of the performance highlights for last year, discuss the financial highlights, what we did for our clients and what we actually did for our people. Obviously, going by the fact that the results for 2020 would have taken into account the external environment. And then we'll close with a few pillars that will guide us for 2021 and 2022. And then we'll take some questions. So who exactly is VMIL and the Victoria Mutual Wealth? So VMIL is actually the corporate financing arm of the VM Group. As we know, we're 80% owned by VMBS. And just to give some color regarding the businesses, in VMIL, we offer insurance premium financing, margin loan, lease financing, and corporate loans. And right below that, 100% owned by VMIL is Victoria Mutual Wealth Management, and that's the broker-dealer. The key business lines are asset management, where we offer our unit trust portfolios, and I would dare interject to say market-leading unit trust portfolios. We also offer portfolio management to ultra-high net worth clients. Then right below that, we have our capital markets unit, our corporate finance unit. We use those names interchangeably. And in that business, we offer debt and equity financing either in the public or private space. We also offer advisory services to small, medium, and large enterprises who require our services. We offer bond and equity trading, not only of Jamaican bonds and equities, but international bonds and international equities. So you may know us as to be able to trade Jamaican equities. And I'll elaborate in the presentation, in a partnership that we launched last year, our clients can actually trade US equities through Victoria Mutual Wealth. So that's very exciting for us. And then we offer our treasury services. That's our typical, what most Jamaicans know as our repo product, and that is done through our treasury department. So that's the structure of the enterprise. A couple years ago, in 2018, we actually did a strategy refresh. And one of the things that we said is, let us be bold in setting some targets for a measure of success, performance measure for the next 10 years. So a couple of the themes that you'll see on the slide is a place to work for high performers, overseas expansion, number one in customer service, financial education, cutting-edge solutions, fund manager. And we believe that if we do all of these things well, that our shareholders will certainly be rewarded. You'll see, though, and I may just elaborate that a key pillar of that vision of success is talent, acquisition, development, and retention. Because as you know, this business is very much a talent business. So we have to acquire the talent, and those clients will help us to serve our customers and serve our customers well. That talent will spearhead that drive to inform the Jamaican investing public. And the reason why financial education is important is in Jamaica, only about 10% of the population trade equities. And in more developed markets, it's a much higher percentage. And as you know, and a number of us would have experienced it, over the past many number of years, I would say 40 years, the best performing asset class, to my knowledge, would have been equities. So to what extent are Jamaicans availing themselves of that opportunity? Part of it is financial education, which is why financial education is key in our strategy. Our number one fund manager status is also important. We want to ensure that we deliver portfolios where the performance is certainly market leading, and we've had some wins of late in that regard. Our property portfolio has been number one for a number of years, I would say market leading. Our equity fund, if you factor out the performance of last year, 2020, for the previous 5 years, on an annual basis, returns of 25%, again, very stellar. And then we have some bond funds that also are delivering value to our clients. Again, I would say market leading. Introducing cutting-edge solutions is also important to us, which is why the platform that we delivered last year with IB to allow our clients to trade U.S. equities is a key part of that strategy. So we're very excited to have delivered that platform. And then, if we do all of those things and do them well, why can't we package that infrastructure and take it to another jurisdiction, which is another tenet of our strategy, which is called overseas expansion. So as you can see, it is anchored in talent. That talent will do a number of things. If we do them well, that platform can be replicated in other jurisdictions. So let's take a look at the external environment for a bit. And I do know that certainly, many, if not all the persons on this call would have understood or experienced the very turbulent market of 2020. All markets were impacted. I would say perhaps only the residential real estate market fared well in 2020. And when we started 2020, I mean, as you know, the Jamaican economy was moving ahead at a very nice clip for the previous 2 years. Lots of development happening across the economy. And then we saw from afar a challenge emerging, and that challenge being COVID-19. One of the things that I must credit the group, the Victoria Mutual Group, for is that we saw that challenge and we prepared before COVID hit our shores. And there was a work stream across the group, or certainly VMIL, VMIL participated. And there were some themes in that project. One, the safety of our team members, the safety of our clients, I would say regulatory compliance, liquidity management was also important, and then all of that packaged well, how do we continue to serve our clients? I do believe that the results will show for 2020 that I do believe that we executed very well on those themes. Certainly, in terms of preparing our team members, the safety of our team members, I think we did very well, leveraging the experience and the information from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Also preparing our team members for remote work at the height of the pandemic, and I say height because I think we're expecting that we're at the tail end. But what do I know? I'm a mere investment manager, but certainly we're hopeful. But preparing our team members for remote work at the height of the pandemic, close to 80-90% of our team members were able to work from home. And I would say currently about 60% of our team members are still working from home. Also prepare, in addition to serving our clients, but doing the transaction migration. So instead of clients walking to the office, that they're able to do their transaction, to request their transactions to be done online, and for transactions to be processed, and to be processed on a timely basis. Certainly, from a regulatory standpoint, capital is fundamental. So obviously doing a number of things in the business towards capital preservation. And it's not only for the operating entity, VMIL or VM Wealth, it was also for the portfolio that we manage in our unit trust and for our portfolio management clients. Ensuring that we had adequate liquidity. So even though our risk standards required X number of liquidity, we decided to go X times 2, just to ensure that because we didn't know the duration of this challenge, that we had adequate liquidity to meet our needs. And I do believe that later on the presentation, I will share some information regarding the feedback from our clients regarding, to what extent do they believe that we serve them and serve them well. Before I go on, sometimes I like quotes, and there's a quote on the screen from Richard Branson says, "Take care of your employees and they'll take care of your business." And why is that here? Because I do believe that the title of the presentation is resilience. I do believe that the team members, both in VMIL, VM Wealth, certainly showed that side of them in 2020, whilst remaining very engaged and very committed to the cause and very committed to the strategic imperatives of the organization. So I just want to place on a record, I know a number of team members are listening. Certainly I was privileged to lead a very high-performing team in 2020. So kudos in that regard. I'm certainly privileged. What you'll see, though, throughout the presentation is that the competitive positioning of the organization has improved. and improved materially it did. If I were to use some themes or some words that the great Warren Buffett or Warren Buffett, however you want to pronounce it, would use, is that he uses this principle of a moat to, as when you're describing competitive positioning. And I do believe that the moat of VMIL certainly got wider in 2020, certainly based on a number of things that we did in the business because of the efforts of the team. So again, kudos there. So let's have a discussion briefly on a couple key perspectives. We're going to talk about financial. We're going to talk about customer. Customer is very fundamental to us. We're going to talk about internal processes. We talked about efficiency and risk management. And then we're going to also talk about learn and growth or the people perspective. So what were some of the things that we did in 2020 to drive financial performance? Certainly, I already spoke about the proactive management of our portfolios. I already spoke about the efforts to ensure that our capital ratios and liquidity ratios were high, but there were also efforts around improving the productivity of the sales team. In many respects, lots of training, lots of coaching, lots of mentoring. There's actually a group sales effectiveness unit that we draw on that unit in an effort to improve the sales productivity. And later on, as I'll share in a bit, you'll see the improved productivity across the enterprise. What are some of the results of that? Certainly, growth in our asset management business, total funds under management to close to $60 billion. Our capital adequacy ratio did certainly end of the year at a robust 16.6, well above the regulatory requirement. In as much as 2020 was very turbulent, we actually gained market share. Our unit trust portfolios did record an improvement in our market share, and in a very turbulent year. So, in as much as there were challenges, there were challenges in terms of ensuring that the performance was stellar in equities and in other portfolios. But certainly, we're very pleased by the fact that we actually gained market share. Whenever it is that we launch new products, we actually track the performance of those newly launched products. And needless to say, in 2020, for products launched since 2017, we actually surpassed the target that we had set for those products. So again, lots of wins in that regard. So I just focus on the financial. Very high level. I'm going to get more granular on some high level numbers financially later on in the presentation. Let's talk about customer. What are some of the things that we did? Very pleased to announce that I want to start with branch expansion, that we launched a number of locations during 2020, Ocho Rios, UTEC, Ligani, Sav, and Duke Street. And I do recall conversation that we had in the business regarding, should we, during COVID, be expanding our footprint? And to my mind, the explanation is very simple, that, there will be COVID will eventually one day leave. That's one. Secondly, that there are investors across the island, and I want to kind of separate the Kingston locations from the other locations, Ocho Rios and Sav. And these investors, both personal and corporate, do need our products and services. And they do need to eyeball us to have those conversations for us to understand their risk appetite, so we can better serve them and recommend products and services for them. And we do need to interact in those communities, because how I look at it is that in as much as we believe Kingston is Jamaica, Kingston isn't. There are investors in those locations that certainly want to invest in equities, in bonds, in our property fund. So we believe having those locations will serve us well in that regard. We also launched new products. I already spoke about the U.S. equity trading platform. And the thesis around U.S. equity trading is, to my mind, is very simple. most of us own Jamaican equities, and we saw the decline taking place in 2020. But if you follow other markets were actually doing very well. The US market did very well based on a number of themes: e-commerce, cloud computing, electronic vehicles, and others. So why should Jamaican investors not avail themselves of that opportunity? Certainly, having launched that platform, we are looking forward to more Jamaican investors becoming global investors. We launched a unit trust portfolio, which we call a Goal Maximizer. And simply put, it's a portfolio. Oftentimes we get feedback from clients that even though we have a real estate fund, an equity fund, they want a fund which will encompass it, which will have all the asset classes, which is managed by us, looking 5, 10, 15 years down the road. So we have launched that product. We believe that for education purposes, certainly for parents who are looking to send their kids towards tertiary education, that's the ideal product to use. It's certainly a long-term portfolio. We launched our Premium Wealth service. This service our Premium Wealth arm is geared towards ultra-high individuals. The feedback we get from some of our clients is that they need to be a space to serve them and serve them well. We certainly launched it. How I look at it is that we launched Premium Wealth 1.0, and in 2021, 2022, we'll go Premium Wealth 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, as we kind of improve the position on it, put the competitive positioning of that unit. In terms of system launched, we launched our client management system. This is the first of 2 projects that we have, which are being delivered in an agile way. And our CMS, client management system, is simply a portal that will allow our clients to make requests, see their balances, and also receive their statements. So we're very excited about that portal. We do believe that that portal will serve us well in terms of improving our service scores in the years to come, because this business is also a service business. During the pandemic, certainly during 2020, in the height of the pandemic, we sat and we said, well, what do clients need from us? As an investor, what do we need from our broker? What do we need? We needed information. With so many information, with so many things happening in the environment, our clients needed information, and information they got. So, internally, sometimes we argue that it was information overload. But we had a number of webinars, a number of publications went out to our investors just to ensure that we kind of kept them abreast of the developments, to ensure that they crafted an asset allocation that would kind of serve them well in the medium term. The sales team also had virtual client meetings, so we couldn't go to our clients, so certainly we had to leverage the technology. So we said, can't come to your office, let's have a conversation on Teams, just to ensure that you understand what's happening in the environment and understand the moves to make to protect your portfolio. And then we also did a redesign of our client statements. Previous to the redesign, a client couldn't see on a 360-degree view of their total holdings. So that certainly was done. So with those things done, what was the result? We saw certainly a massive improvement in our Net Promoter Score. The Net Promoter Score is one measure used across the world to gauge how well you're doing in terms of serving our clients. So our NPS improved. Our service metrics also improved across the business. So we're very pleased there. And then in terms of transaction migration, because persons couldn't come in to do transactions, a lot of our equity investors, over 80% now do their equity trading online. So certainly we had some success there. In terms of processes, we have started an initiative, and we'll hear more about this initiative in 2021 and 2022, but just to look at our procedures, our processes, and to make them a lot more efficient. And that efficiency is certainly geared towards serving our clients and improving the productivity of the person on the front line, our sales team. So we believe that, we have already done some of the work. So the project started in 2020, and in 2021, certainly later in the year, we'll give an up in terms of how well that project is doing. In terms of risk management, lots of focus on risk management across the business, but certainly keen tracking of the risk metrics based on our ERM framework. ERM is Enterprise Risk Management Framework. We did implement a number of new systems. VMIL Caseware, as the name says, is to improve our VMIL compliance. And also Fusion Risk is one project that we have launched, which will be delivered in 2021 regarding putting some additional parameters or strictures around our investment management practices. In terms of awards, we're very pleased to be one of those companies who had our virtual AGM last year in 2020. One of the first that actually was privileged to have our AGM online. And then in December 2020, at the JC Best Practice Awards, we're very pleased to be given first prize for our website. That's the VM Wealth website. And we're also second runner-up for listed companies for corporate disclosure and investor relations. And certainly the team is excited around copying additional awards in 2021 and 2022. We have our eyes set on a number of awards, so we're looking forward to the JC function in December 2021. We believe that some of the things that we have done in 2020 serves us well to receive some additional awards. Let's briefly go through the financial highlights. I mean, I did speak about it, but let's get a bit more granular. In terms of revenue performance, our business, the revenue growth, revenue moved from 1.68 to 1.87 billion Jamaican dollars. And I do believe that considering the environment that we had in 2020, this revenue growth is very commendable. What were some of the drivers of revenue? Yeah. Certainly it was our asset management business, very resilient business that we had there, and also our bond trading business certainly delivered quite a bit of value, contributing to the revenue growth. And then lastly, in as much as the industry is de-emphasizing our repo book, but certainly credible performance by the Treasury team in 2020. In terms of, so I have this chart up just to show or to highlight that we're building a more diversified revenue base. A couple years ago in 2017, the Treasury business contributed close to 51% of overall revenues. That is now down to close to 37%. And what's emerging from that is that our capital markets business, our corporate finance business, and our asset management business has taken up that reduction in percentage in terms of additional contribution to the revenue base. But certainly I do believe that we have a very diversified revenue base for a company our size, because it is that diversified revenue base that served us well in 2020. And we'll continue to build an enterprise that has that diversification in the revenue base, because as you know, oftentimes in a particular year, one revenue driver may not deliver. So you want to ensure that if it's diversified, that there is no material harm to the bottom line. This slide shows the growth in our in our net interest income. So as you can see, in addition to the growth in our net interest income in 2019, the on-balance sheet portfolio grew. So in an environment where other players are de-emphasizing their repo portfolio, and it doesn't mean that we are or we aren't, but we do believe that if there's an opportunity for growth in a particular business line, we will take it as long as there's appropriate risk parameters in place to protect the downside of that business line. So certainly in 2020, our treasury portfolio, or treasury business did well. In terms of earnings per share, and you could extrapolate to net income, in 2019, our net PAT was 598. In 2020, that fell to 443, and you can see the reduction in our earnings per share. And so certainly, would have been impacted by the environment. Notwithstanding that, to deliver the performance that we delivered in 2020, again, that's quite commendable. But the other initiatives that were implemented to improve the competitive positioning of the business, we believe is the fundamental story or the main takeaway to be derived when you examine the performance of the business in 2020. The wins that we had in 2020 will serve us well and serve us well in future years. So you may not see the benefits realization in 2020, but you'll certainly see it in future years. The branch expansion, our client management portal, the improvement in our net promoter score, our partnership with IB to offer our equity trading platform, and more, we believe are some of the things that will serve us well in the medium term. In terms of shareholders' equity, again, considering the environment of 2020, an improvement in our capital base to over $4 billion. That's driven by retained earnings and also investment revaluation reserve. Again, this chart shows the on-book portfolio and the return on total assets. So you have seen an improvement between 2018 and 2019. Deviation from the mean, if I were to say so, of 1.58 in 2021. We believe that mean reversion will take place in 2021 onwards. So we spoke quite a bit of our clients. Just want to briefly show a number of things. Improvement in our net promoter score, not to the level that we want, but certainly from where we're coming from, we're doing very well. And then also in terms of our customer perspectives, we certainly survey our customers 3 times a year. We ask them a number of questions. We set some targets around some of these things. And as you can see, we surpassed the target set in 5 of 6 during 2020. Turning to our people, market-leading engagement scores for VMIL, where we spoke about the percentage of team members working from home, but also to highlight that the improvement in our engagement was across a number of themes, both the culture perspective, what we call employee value proposition, the opportunities that we provide to our team members, how we're leveraging rewards and recognition, the work life that we create on a day-to-day basis. Leadership, again, is fundamental. So certainly you have seen an improvement in the leadership scores. So kudos to the management team at VMIL, which contributed to an improvement in our engagement scores. But there's also a role that was played by the employees. It wasn't all management. And that's what kind of, I was thrilled about, that there is a a community, our committee, led by the employees, that also instituted a number of initiatives that drove the engagement northwards. Not on the slide, but I certainly want to just highlight a number of initiatives done across the Victoria Mutual Group, for which VMIL and VM Wealth received quite a bit of benefit. Lots of training to our team members to prepare them for leadership position, preparing them for leadership in terms of supervisory or in terms of management. A lot of focus on team members' development. There's a particular framework called an individual development plan, part of our talent management plan, where each team member must have an IDP, individual development plan, that is owned by the team member. And the VMIL leadership did spend quite a bit of time in 2020 ensuring that all our team members had an IDP and that the activities on the IDP, that those activities were being implemented. Because our view is that team members' development is fundamental. As a leader, if you're not developing the person below you and the person below the person below you, then you won't get the opportunity to do more, take on additional responsibilities, focus on strategy. So quite a bit of effort was expended by the leadership team, ensuring that we're developing our team members. Quite a bit of effort around rewards and recognition. Employee of the quarter, employee of the year, salesperson of the quarter, salesperson of the month, customer service person of the month, of the quarter, just to create some excitement around and acknowledge the contribution of our high performers. We already spoke about risk management, but just to briefly indicate, certainly for our key stakeholder, which is the FSC, that we ended the year adhering to all the regulatory ratios. The outlook in terms of 2021, 2022, I would say that a number of pillars, I could actually add more, but in the interest of time, digitalization. And the digitalization thrust it's twofold. It's towards improving our efficiency, but it's also improving our client experience. So certainly our client management system was towards improving our client experience. Other digitalization and automation initiatives that we will launch in 2021 and 2022 will be primarily focused on efficiency improvements, but also improving our client experience. Diaspora engagement. Why is it here? There are 3 million Jamaicans on the rock, 3 million Jamaicans outside. Those Jamaicans are eager to invest in Jamaica. They're eager to invest in our market-leading property fund. They're eager to invest in our market-leading real estate portfolio and equity portfolio. They're eager to understand the opportunities that are here in our capital market products. So we believe that to look only at the 3 million Jamaicans here, we'll have to kind of focus on the 3 here and the 3 there. Those are markets to be served. Overseas expansion, I did touch on it before, that if we build talent, that talent does great business in terms of serving our clients, educating our clients, and introducing products. If that, having developed that competence is scalable in other jurisdictions. And then driving asset management performance. We have a number of unit trust portfolios, which I said before are market leading. In future years, the CEO of VMIL need not come to an investor briefing to state it. The market should know it, that VMIL, number one, move on. It should be, that's the branding that we're looking for. So quite a bit of effort will be expended in 2021-22 in terms of driving asset management performance. At this juncture, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I think we will take some questions. I think we have 15 minutes to go. So, I said before by Sharon, just type your questions in. It'll come on the screen, and then I will seek to answer the questions. If the hard questions that I can't answer, I'll bounce to Mr. Campbell. The math questions that I can't answer, I will bounce to Kimberly. Okay, the first question, go for me, please. No, you're gone too far. I'm sorry. Go back to one. Go back to one for me, please. One, go up to one, go up to one. Okay, first, yeah, right there, thank you very much. The first question from Lance White via Zoom. The question goes, has it been more cost effective for your staff to work from home as a result of the response to COVID? Do you see this as a new norm for you in the future? Has it been cost effective? Certainly, I believe so. So, for example, if I were to look at from two perspectives, both the team members and the enterprise. We pay rent, we pay maintenance. On the maintenance side, it's the light, water, utilities. I do believe that there will be a reduction in our maintenance charges. For the team members, there's a balance between cost, productivity, and I would say work-life balance. If we were to ask our team members to return to work, yet they have staff members at home, that would present additional cost to them. I do believe that when you balance all three, that the team members certainly benefited from working from home. And we didn't see a reduction in productivity. But beyond that, we just mentioned the employee engagement scores. So if something was wrong with the model, would have expected it to show up in our engagement scores. And certainly, based on the scores that we got, it certainly reinforced that the model is working. Does the model need tweaking? As in all things man-made, we have to tweak it on occasion. So we'll be certainly leveraging the insights from our HR team regarding additional tweaks to the model. Do you see this as a new norm for VMILs in the future? Certainly. Certainly. If there is no reduction in productivity, if there is no reduction in engagement, with the appropriate infrastructure provided by Group ICT, InfoSecurity, with the requisite guidance provided by the other support units, I do believe it's a model for the future. And actually, the model still exists because, as I said before, 60% of our team members are still working from home. So, thank you very much. The next one is from Yolanda via Zoom. Where overseas will these new establishments be under your overseas expansion? So, Yolanda, I really can't say just yet. There is a strategic acquisitions unit in the VM group. They have identified a number of jurisdictions where we believe that our model can be successfully replicated. And we are exploring those opportunities. Those opportunities are numerous. We're exploring those opportunities. Obviously, there are in M&A, there are a number of things to consider: culture, the financial literacy rate of the population, foreign exchange control, many factors, GDP outlook. but it is on our radar. It is actually on the balance scorecard for VMIL, which we have to report onto the board periodically. So it is front and center for us. Thank you. Okay, next question from Odale from Zoom. Can you say if the dividend mandates which were attached to the previous JCSD accounts were automatically switched to the new JCSD numbers based on the recent experience? I do believe so, Odale. Let me not confirm that, but let me go back, check, and a member of the team will confirm same. All right? Okay, next question is from Mr. O. Campbell via Zoom. Says, what's your take on VMIL's current stock price? I shouldn't answer the question, and maybe I shouldn't answer the question, but I'm going to give it a stab. Courtney chuckles. Normally, when Courtney chuckles at me, it's like a leg bite. You should leave it alone. Like, Courtney, leave it alone. So there are inputs and there are outcomes. The management team is focused on inputs, if you follow me carefully. Our job is to craft a strategic plan. Our job is to tweak, throw away, craft another one. Right? The board will say, is it robust enough? Then our job, again, inputs, is to put our heads down, and execute. And periodically look up, like we're looking up now. And my view is that if we execute on the inputs, the outcome will be the outcomes. A parallel, but I do understand that you understand what I'm saying. Okay. From a shareholder, can we expect new listings from VM soon? Soon is relative. Our capital markets unit was bolstered recently. We acquired talent from the industry. Our new AVP of capital markets who actually participated in a webinar a couple of days ago on the post-budget forum. His name is Dwight Jackson. Dwight is certainly keen, as with everybody in VMIL, on driving performance across the capital market space, not only in equity, but also debt and also advisory services. I believe listings will come based on our value proposition, but let's focus on putting the inputs and the outcomes will come, because perhaps that the pockets of value may not be in listing, it may be somewhere else. So the role of the management team and Dwight is to say, well, where's the pocket of value that we can capture for our shareholders. Okay, the next one is from Everton Facey via Zoom. Will there be dividend payments from VMIL to shareholders? Okay, I knew this question was coming. Thanks, Everton. So Everton and shareholders, the board periodically will look at the performance of the business and say, based on the strategy being employed, based on the capital required to deliver on those strategic imperatives, based on the environment, and then also based on the requirements of a regulator, do we believe that a dividend will be paid? And those conversations occupy the mind and occupy the discussions at our board meeting, and the board will weigh in when we believe that those 3 or 4 things are balanced. I'm going to throw this to Courtney. I did tell him I was going to give him a hard one, so Courtney, as a director, can provide a perspective.
I think you covered it well, Rez. The board will take into consideration matters such as our capitalization and also in terms of the regulatory requirements, but also what is required for the investment plans of the company for the future. But of course, we always are going to bear in mind that our shareholders need a good return, and our main shareholder is a VM group, right? You know, as you know, the Bank of Jamaica last year, as part of their supervisory responsibility, just ensuring the safety and soundness of the financial sector, did ask the financial sector companies, the regulated institutions, to agree not to declare any dividends until we came through this crisis, and except for those shareholders who, you know, had a shareholding of maximum 1%, so they were able to accommodate the small shareholders. And so we're complying with that. We agreed. We're one of the financial institutions that agreed to adopt that policy. And so we will continue to review that as, you know, in conjunction with the regulators as we assess the overall health of the financial sector. The good news is that, you know, we have started our vaccination program, and we believe that Jamaica will recover from this, and we believe that the other aspect of the good news is that our financial sector has remained strong, and so we believe that dividend payments will resume shortly. We can't say when, but it's something that is at the front and center of the attention of the board, not only of this company, but of all financial sector regulated companies.
Ronnie. Next question from shareholder, no name. It says, what is VMIL doing to make investing available to more investors, given that you mentioned that only 10% of the population invest in the stock market? What are we doing? Lots of webinars, lots of publications. So for example, if the shareholder who is asked a question were to provide us with your email address, we have a daily stock market tip, we have newsletters, we actually had a series on YouTube called Money Moves, but lots of information. We give analysis on stocks, but lots of information that we provide to the general population in promoting investment in equities. And also, let me just reinforce our rural locations, I want to call them country locations, Savlama, Ocherios, is to bring, without sounding, you know, is to bring that information to that market space. That's why we have our office there, so persons can come in, excuse me, and talk to us about what's this thing called equities that are here on business news every day. So the additional touch points, excuse me, you know, many things that we're doing to promote equity investing. Next one, what are the strategies that will be used to grow VMIL stock price? I did elaborate on all the inputs that we are leveraging to deliver value to our investors. Our value is represented by, one is net interest income, and as I said before, if done well, if inputs done well, you see the outcomes. If outcomes done well, the market will do what the market should do. Next question from Bob in Shooters Hill. With the Ministry of Health and Wellness projecting that the vaccination process will drag into 2022, and in light of current COVID numbers, is now a good time to invest, or should we simply put our funds in a savings account and hunker down until we achieve herd immunity in Jamaica and things start getting back to normal? I like that question, Bob. I like that question. So I'm not promoting market timing. I'm not promoting market timing. But if you listen or if you read the literature from some of the greatest investors, there are numerous books out there. So many books. Richest Man in Babylon, One Upon Wall Street, Jack Schwager, Market Wizards, many books. Opportunities come to the fore when persons are running away. Opportunities come to the fore when persons are running away. Let me give a couple examples. The best time to buy real estate in the 70s when everybody was leaving. The best time to buy equities was a couple of years ago when we were going through our IMF program. I've said it, I'm going to say it again. The Jamaican equity market survived democratic socialism, structural adjustment, Hurricane Gilbert, liberalization, FinSac, debt exchange 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the last IMF agreement, and
the financial sector meltdown.
The financial sector meltdown.
In the international.
2008,
right.
The Great Recession.
Mm-hmm.
And please, I beg you, just ask a couple of investors who've been investing since then, how have they fared? Please, I beg you. I'll answer the question accordingly. I think you get my point. Okay, next question. Kim, I need a question for you now. Okay, next question from Sterling via Zoom. What are some of the plans to grow operating revenue in 2021? Where are you guys seeking the opportunities? Will you be looking for alternative investment solutions to drive growth in the future like your competitors? So Sterling, I really can't tell you what are the strategies per se, even though I did intimate at a few of them. All the business lines we're driving, every single business line, bond and equity trading, asset management, capital markets, treasury, we're driving all business lines because we believe that there is additional revenue to be garnered from each business line. And I can't be more specific than that, Sterling, I'm sorry. Okay, question 11 from David Rose from the Observer. It says, since VMIL received fewer dividends from VM Wealth due to COVID-19 environment, does it mean VM Wealth may pay dividends from their cash pile to VMIL? I said, David, I'm not going to answer that one. I think Mr. Campbell did answer that one. Good try, David. Good try. Thank you very much. Next one from shareholder. Can we expect an IPO from VMIL soon? Yes, I did speak about that one. I'm not concerned around APO per se. I would say, from my vista, is what are the strategies being deployed by the capital markets unit, the corporate finance unit, to grow shareholder value? And I did elaborate on the efforts being taken by our new AVP to drive performance. Okay, next one from Sterling. What are your plans to grow fee and commission income, and how did you guys plan to navigate the low interest environment? We should weigh on net interest income given that central bankers are likely to maintain their accommodative stance to prop up the global economy since the COVID-19 induced recession. Okay, so when you go up for me, please. Let me see this first part of the question. Yeah. Okay, so I did speak about fee and commission income. Fee and commission income in the income statement is capital market, is asset management. If we do great in terms of investment management performance, mm-hmm. that's our CVP, and I already spoke about the capital markets unit. In terms of the environment, we survived last year when interest rates were zero. Based on, I spoke about the COVID response, I spoke about the efforts by the Treasury team. With adequate risk parameters, I do believe that we can drive that business further in 2021. Next question, I think I'm out of time. Go down for me, please. Will VMIL adopt, become a bank in the future? So will VM Group? I'm going to hand that one to Courtney. Question 13.
Okay. So answer is that VM Group does not have a plan any plans to convert to a bank at this point. What we're focused on right now is the restructuring of the group. And the restructuring of the group will lead to the establishment of a mutual holding company and a financial holding company. That is to ensure that we're fully complying with the Banking Services Act, which has provisions for financial holding companies. And what we expect there is that Victoria Mutual Building Society will then be a subsidiary, a proprietary building society. That's one subsidiary of the financial holding company. So it will be converted to a proprietary building society, but at this point, not a bank. We think the only advantage that commercial banks have over the proprietary building society as we envisage it would be the ability to issue checking accounts. And as many of you know, less and less people are using checking accounts at this time. So based on the products that we have rolled out over the last few years, based on the feedback that we have received from our members and clients, and based on the products that we have in our pipeline to be launched this year and in 2022, we believe that we are satisfying the needs of our members.
Thanks, Courtney. And just to be clear, Mr. Campbell is referring to the Victoria Mutual Group. Victoria Mutual Group, not VMIL, VMWorld.
That's correct.
Just to put some
Thank you,
context behind it.
yeah.
Anytime, sir. Next question from Marvin Gordon. Why open multiple branches in Kingston? Because, you know, we have customers across the metropolitan area that want to be served and who sometimes don't believe they get a good experience when they have to navigate the New Kingston traffic. Let me put it that way. Okay, from Yvette on Zoom, what are plans to expand the VMWorld platform so that we will be able to see our transactions going in and out and have it function similar to a bank account? Okay, very, very good, Yvette. Thank you very much. So I did speak about our digitalization initiatives. The first one was our client management system. The second one is that portal of which you refer. We're doing the costing scoping now. I can't give you a timeline, but it is one of the plans that we have for the medium term to get done. Right? But rest assured that it is to be done and will be done. Next one, are we done? No question for Kimberly.
Rez, if I may, could I just add a point to the earlier question on, I think you gave a great answer to the question on how to impact the share price, the stock price, and your answer about building a more valuable business. I just wanted to add some points regarding the support that the Victoria Mutual Group is giving to those efforts. So you made 4 points, Rez. The digitalization for efficiency and improved client experience. And just to say that the VM Group is supporting that through our digital transformation strategy. It's a pretty ambitious digital transformation strategy, but we have been executing well, and we're pretty happy with what has been delivered so far, plus a continuous improvement program that's being executed by our group operations team. And through that, we're re-engineering all the processes, all the key processes of the group that impact on client experience and efficiency as well. You spoke about diaspora engagement. Again, the group supports that because we have 5 representative offices overseas, 3 in the UK, 2 in the United States, in New York and in Florida. And of course, you spoke about overseas expansion. And the VM Group is supporting that effort through the Strategic Investments Unit that was established at the beginning of 2019. The 4th point you made is driving asset management performance. Of course, the asset management team that's in VMIL will do lots of the work there regarding the asset allocation and deciding on the asset management strategy. But at the end of the day, the salespeople have to do the work. And again, the VM Group supports that through our highly successful sales effectiveness function that we have been executing over the past 2 years and showing some great results. So just to say that it's a really great team effort, and the VMIL team are fully supported by the wider VM group as we seek to build a more valuable company for the future.
Thanks, President.
Hi, okay, so I would just like to add, I'm going to talk a little bit more on the financial statements. As Rez had mentioned, we had made total revenue of 1.8 billion, which was really good, especially in a time like this with the COVID pandemic. And yes, it was reduced, or net profit was lower than last year. However, this is all because of the initiatives that Rez had mentioned in regard to vision and a vision for success. We have increased employees, and this would tie into our HR initiative as well, and IT infrastructure, which increased our operating expense. But overall, we had a very good year. We had profit of 433 million, which is very good, and we're going to keep it up, and I'm hoping that we will definitely see the rewards of some of these initiatives in the future years to come.
Thanks, Kim.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you would agree with me that it has been quite a fulfilling morning. We're so pleased to have had active participation from our online guests, and we hope that you found the information to be of value today. I want to thank all the members of the head table here, Mr. Courtney Campbell, our group president and CEO, Mr. Rezworth Burchenson, as well as Ms. Budaram, for so ably taking us through this morning and answering all of your questions. Special thanks to the members of the media who joined us, and to everyone who spent this morning with us as we sought to update you on the Victoria Mutual Investments Limited. I would also like to thank our partners, Blueprint and their associated companies, for so ably providing professional services for us this morning. So on behalf of the VM team, I wish you a wonderful day. And please, don't forget to fill out that survey. It's very important because that information will help us to serve you better in the future. Until you hear from us again, stay safe, be well. Thank you.
Thank you.